Hi, so a little while ago, I made a video which I cheekily called How I Get Piano Tech to Sound So Good. Um, it's a bit of a joke in the sense that I think Piano Tech already sounds good and all the presets have great qualities. What I'm really talking about in that video is how to make any instrument that is responsive in the right kind of way, how to make any instrument that responds to a certain kind of input sound good. So how do you make a timp drum sound good, a big kettle drum? Well, you hit it like that. You can't just go poke. And the piano is just the same. The way that we play a note affects the way that it sounds, the way that we actually move our bodies, maybe even on a level of intention, what we intend. And the key to playing with the right kind of physical motion to make an instrument sound good, be it a flute, a kettle drum, a piano, a trumpet, the key is to do with obviously getting the right sort of form in your body, the right technique, you might say. But there's something else that's just as important, something that is common to all instruments, because obviously technique varies from instrument to instrument completely. The thing that's common to all musical instruments, including the human voice, is that we must create the sound using a rhythmic body. Our body needs to be rhythmic in its intention. And that rhythm needs to be free. It mustn't be stiff. And I think this is one of the areas that in sort of conventional teaching I find is very neglected, especially on the classical side, but sometimes also in jazz these days. There's a tendency to think in terms of rhythm as just playing in time, like it's some execution thing, whereas it's not at all about executing, it's about playing from the body. So if I'm just playing something, really, really simple, like these simple chords. Very, very simple. But it sounds nice, not just because the piano is nice. Yes, the piano is beautiful. It's the Steinway D, very, very nice. The New York Steinway D in Piano Tech. Not just because I'm adding dynamics. I'm not really thinking about adding dynamics when I'm playing like that. I'm just playing with rhythm. So what do I mean playing with rhythm? I mean, does it mean I've practiced with a metronome and I can play in time? No, it doesn't mean that. It means I'm feeling it in a poetic way, feeling the groove, as I always talk about. And music always has this quality of groove. Well, almost all music has groove. I mean, I suppose it's conceivable that there is some music without groove, but the vast majority of music has a groove. It has like meter in poetry, like old-fashioned poetry that would have meter and rhyme. It's that kind of feeling. So the way that if we're going to count along to our playing, which is a far better thing, it's far better to vocalize to help you play with rhythm than it is to play with a metronome, because a metronome will make you stiff. So I was to vocalize and go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I'm sort of going, Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing like a child's verse, like a child's nursery rhyme on the inside. I'm feeling like a call and response, a question and answer feeling, this poetic feeling of groove that I always talk about. And we have to feel that actually in our bodies. So what does it mean, feel it in our bodies? Well, maybe you can even see it. I'll do another set of chords, very, very similar. I'll go a little faster this time. I'll go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you might be able to see I'm sort of moving with the beat. I'm letting my body move. Now, this is not something I'm forcing to happen. It's something that I'm allowing to happen. So the phrase I always use is let go. tune in. Sometimes I say, tune in to the groove, let go. It's like when you hit the dance floor and you really like the song and you let go. That's the feeling. You actually feel it in your body. Now, the problem with playing in a let go way is we often lose discipline. So the idea that we focus and let go. So we play things that we can know where we are in the keyboard. If it's piano music, which is my thing, we know where we are in the keyboard. We know where our fingers are kind of standing and walking these chords very clearly. And then we move, we get the movements in our fingers to feel natural, like walking. If the stiffness and tension in the way we feel rhythm, that will always translate to stiffness and tension in the way that we move. So the feeling on the inside dictates the way that we move. So that freedom comes first. Before technique, before thinking about technique, you've got to get that basic rhythmic freedom in the body and then somehow get it into the technique in a way that feels very natural. You find that if you teach people, as I do, to be rhythmic in their technique, naturally rhythmic, you don't really have to teach the technique as much because the rhythm will take care of it. So you might be thinking, well, what about crossed rhythms or complicated rhythms? Well, you've just got to feel them naturally as well. So if I was doing a crossed rhythm, this is like 2s against 3s. You just have to feel it in the right way. 2s against 3s actually creates a combined rhythm. Da 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 da. And so you have to be aware of that rhythm. You need that rhythm in your mind. And it's, as I say, it's like poetic. It's like a dance. Da 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 da, dee da da da, da da da, dee da da da. The ability to do quick rhythms comes simply with practice. But your fast rhythms will never be particularly good, or your complex rhythms, which are kind of it's the same thing. It's just being able to do things quickly to create complexity. Your fast or complex rhythms will never be any good if the freedom, that feeling on the inside that makes it feel free in the body. So it's not enough to say your technique needs to be relaxed to be good. It needs to be free and rhythmic, which is a kind of different thing from saying just relax. Have you ever sort of tried to relax more because you feel stiff and then you find you can't play at all? You can't get any strength in your fingers. You want your fingers to feel like they are, as I say, walking, standing on the keys and moving in a rhythmic way. Let's have a go to like a waltz time. See if you can feel the rhythm. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to allow the groove to stretch. I want you to notice how that stretch has a feeling that I go with. It kind of goes up the hill and down the hill. So you get these changes of tempo, but I do not lose the groove. And so that feeling of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. We go with it. It's almost like being on a roller coaster. It takes you with it. You feel it in your body. If I don't feel that in my body, you won't feel it as a listener. It's really strange. And I'll get stiff and I'll be calculating these speeding ups and slowing downs that I'm doing. And I'm not, it's just very, very natural. So this is how to make an instrument sound good. It's to play it with that kind of physical freedom. If I play some really big chords, Rachmaninoff style chords, volume and the feeling of power comes more through the rhythm than actually how hard I hit the keys. I mean, I'm quite strong. So when I used to play on real pianos rather than these very robust digital pianos, which don't need tuning or anything, they're amazing. When I used to play on my old Yamaha, my poor old Yamaha Model C, it got battered. I would break strings all the time because I'm so strong. And I would tell myself, come on, play more gently. It's more about the rhythm. That's one of the problems when you really let go and play rhythmically. You can sometimes not know your own strength. You have to be careful. So playing loud isn't difficult. This thing about strong fingers as well, even my little weak fingers, I can play some chords just with my fourth and fifth fingers. It's like they're perfectly strong. They work really well as long as we we play with that feeling, and it's that standing feeling. So the natural feeling in the body, the way that the body works to play an instrument, when it isn't animated by that natural dancing, poetic, rhythmic groove feeling, tends to become stiff. And this is the key to making a good sound. And actually, it's the first step to having a really good technique.